And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
And yes, here we are again another day committed to picking a fight with the mainstream media, always providing you the timely truth centered around real estate, credit, finance and estate planning, tax planning, insurance planning, and hurricane planning here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, helping you win in any marketplace. That's the number one goal of our show. We want you to save our hotline number in your phone because at some point you're going to need it. 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
That's our consumer advocate hotline number. You can call or text that line anytime you have a question, comment, or concern with the show or want a connection. You want to hook up to one of our expert contributors. We've got 80-plus show categories, over 50 show partners here, and it's all about helping you understand more about your buying decisions and making you just a bit more street smart here. Also, bookmark our website, consumerqb.com. A plethora of information available for you on our website, consumerqb.com. You can see links to all of our expert contributors there, and we want to help you win in any marketplace. That is our goal here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Doug Levi in studio. Welcome back, sir.
Good to see you again, man.
Yeah,
another day in the paradise here.
That's right. That's right. Strategic Insurance is the name. TampaBayInsurance.com is the web location.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
So hurricane prep. We're going to talk a little bit about hurricane prep
Yeah,
today.
we're going to talk about hurricane prep and also what to do after a storm, because we're just going after Hurricane Dorian here. I feel so bad for the people in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Thank God that wasn't our area, but we're going to talk about what you would do after a hurricane as well.
Okay.
So,
yeah, and we're caring for the Bahamas here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Former show partner Juan Conchero and current show partner Captain Will Smith. Caringforthebahamas.com is the website. As you know, with Hurricane Dorian coming through and doing a lot of damage to the Bahamas. Caringforthebahamas.com was set up by Juan Conchero and his team at On the Upwind Flying Club. Upwind Flying Club pilot meetup group. So they're flying relief efforts down to the Bahamas. So they're looking for all types of supplies. Also, our friends at Alex Lima with Black Belt Fitness, they're holding, he's accepting donations at his dojo, which is on Waters Avenue, right by the expressway there, where his dojo is. Black Belt Fitness, Alex Lima. You can drop off supplies there as well. And, of course, find out online at Instagram and reach out to us. We'd love to connect you with those folks as well if you want to get involved. Also, we have our event coming up tomorrow, Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit. We're hosting that at American Legion Post 5, 3810 West Kennedy Boulevard. It's going to be at September 12th, 6 to 8:30, American Legion Post 5. And it's going to be veterans, heroes, first responders, active military, seniors as well. Attorney Joe Pippen's going to be there speaking about probate avoidance and setting up your tax plan, your estate plan rather. We got Fairway Independent Mortgage going to be represented. William Crowley, the credit magician, is going to be there as well. And also Captain Matt Bruce is going to be speaking at that event. Cater Food, free event. Reach out, let your network know about it. We would love to see them there at the Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit, again on the 12th, 6 to 8:30 at American Legion Post 5, 3810 West Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa. All right, got a hot listing I will let you know about here on the beach. This one is on Clearwater Beach, 861 Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach. Gorgeous property, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, but you actually have a 3rd bedroom in the back as well. You can't count it because it doesn't have a closet, but you're 200 steps from the soft sands, the sugar sands of beautiful Clearwater Beach, the dolphin-filled waters, and it's a great community as well. You got some celebrities living in that community as well. Former retired wrestler Hulk Hogan's in the community and all those folks, really cool location there. Great opportunity, 861 Mandalay Avenue in Clearwater. And we have a property at 5822 Schooner Way. This property is a gorgeous home, and it is waterfront. You got bay access, and you have a pool remodeled on the inside. My wife, Lindsay, worked some of her feng shui magic on the inside of this property, made it beautiful. 5822 Schooner Way, $639,000 actually just reduced here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com.
Sun is shining, the weather is
All right, so we got Doug Levi in the house, a wealth of knowledge around insurance. I love how you mix it up. Sometimes you talk property casualty, you talk about business owners' insurance policies. You talked about the automobile side last time. So today, a little bit more about the hurricane follow-up, right?
Yeah. So always trying to bring some good info for our listeners out there on all things insurance related. So today, what I really wanted to mention was what to do after a hurricane, and I'll even broaden that. I'll say what to do after a claim. Right?
Okay.
So we're thinking right now, Hurricane Dorian, again, we just have mentioned, hit the Bahamas very strongly, still creeping up the coast. I mean, at some point that sucker was just stalled, right? Like 1 mile an hour. So what do you do after a hurricane or a claim in general? And I'm going to talk right now really more on the homeowner side, kind of what you would do after a claim. And so a couple of things, and obviously you want to let your insurance company know, your insurance agent know. That's probably the biggest one to say, obviously, right away on that. But I really want to highlight, and it's kind of a hot topic right now in our industry. You want to be aware of what you're signing in terms of assignment of benefit. So here's a scenario. So let's kind of break this down a little bit. So let's say you have a pretty serious water damage claim, or again, it could be post-hurricane. You're getting somebody out there, a contractor, to do work. They may put a contract in front of you which assigns your rights as a policyholder over to them. So they actually become the ones that get the direct benefits of the policy. Now, their proposition is, hey, we're going to take care of this, and we're going to handle it from here for you. Really, what the consumers need to be aware, there's been a ton of fraud around this, a lot of fraud. And it's even been things that they've made some changes at the state level. Last year during the Florida legislature, they actually made some changes. Here's the big flashing light takeaway. Some of the carriers now will say if you sign over your rights like that, you're going to lose certain policy coverages.
Wow.
Okay, so again, it's you always just have to be careful what you're signing, and sometimes things sound too good to be true almost.
Right.
And I'm not saying that they're not legitimate contractors that can do this and kind of do this assignment of benefit deal. But it is a big deal, because literally what happens, it's almost like if you think of a life insurance policy and you say, okay, well, instead of my wife being the beneficiary, now I'm going to make the contractor the beneficiary. You're literally turning your rights as a policyholder over to the contractor. So, it's interesting, and I'll add it to our website, but I pulled tips for those affected by a hurricane. And this is right from Progressive. Progressive now writes some homeowners insurance in our area. They bought ASI a few years ago. And this was their third tip on their sheet, saying, call us first, don't be a victim of assignment of benefit, fraud, and abuse. So, and again, just kind of highlighting that on there. So other things you definitely want to do, you want to make any and all reasonable repairs you can to prevent the home from being further damaged. Talked a little bit about this last time I was on the show, but let's say that part of the roof blows off and you can get a tarp on to prevent further water damage just from day-to-day rain. You want to do that. Anything like that, you certainly want to do. Make sure you're saving all your receipts. The insurance company's definitely good. As long as you can prove you've shelled some money out for it, they will definitely reimburse that. So you definitely want to save all those receipts. Another thing that was on here, and again, I thought was really good, Brandon, was let's talk about, God forbid, worst case scenario. So let's say your home's totally uninhabitable. And again, it's so hard to picture. We thank God have not had to deal with that here in our area. But if you go, right now up on the screen is the PDF of what to do after a hurricane. And again, I'll send that to you so you can add to your Consumer Quarterback site, and it's on our website as well. But long story short, if let's say you had to evacuate, you come back and we look like the Bahamas right now. Your home's totally uninhabitable. What do? Well, a lot of the carriers in the policy, they have money for that. Okay, it's called additional living expenses, right? And it's normally a percentage of your dwelling coverage.
Okay.
Most carriers will give you 10 to 20%. Okay, so say I've got a $500,000 home, I could have maybe $50,000 to $100,000 of money to live somewhere else while I'm rebuilding. There are some companies out there, Temporary Housing Solutions, CRS Temporary Housing, Temporary Accommodations, Assured Relocations. Again, too much. I'm not going to spit out all these phone numbers and websites right now. But there are some companies out there that specialize in this post-disaster scenarios. And now, where am I gonna go?
Mobile homes, little mobile home trailer type thing set up.
Could
Is that what
be.
you see
I mean,
sometimes?
it could be everything. And in general, what the carriers try to do is they try and match you up with kind of like, kind, and quality. So if you're used to living in a 5-bedroom, 3,500 square foot house, they're going to do their best to try and find something close to that. But obviously, post hurricane, especially if it's a really catastrophic one, it's those first few nights or few weeks you may be in a hotel, right? They may post you up at a hotel and be paying for that.
Yeah.
So think about that, and then I think it's hard to say too, but there's be patient, especially if it's something really, really tragic. The carriers, and listen, I'm not here to defend the whole insurance industry. There's times where it's a pain. It doesn't work well, but there's a lot of times these carriers spend millions and millions, literally billions of dollars on repairs and fixing people's homes and actually paying out the claims. Where I'm going with it is to be patient. They do try to sort of work in a triage type order, if you will. So, if they're going to try and work with the people that are most affected first. So that's just kind of big picture overview, what to do. And again, we'll make sure that your listeners out there get access to this info. Yeah,
that's awesome. Thanks for bringing those tips in. Tips for those affected by a hurricane, going to be on our website at consumerqb.com. Also, Doug's website, tampabayinsurance.com. Plethora of knowledge there in his space. All right, so when we come back, more from Doug Levi here in studio. We're expecting a call in, and we got a beach update coming from Clyde Smith. He's the general manager over at the Bilmar Beach Resort. And when we come back, our feel-good story of the day is a good one. The Jonas Brothers surprise fan in hospital who missed concert for chemo treatment. Find out about that and our feel-good story of the day. We'll be right back after this short timeout.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I own and operate the Platinum MVP team out of our Palm Harbor office of Clearwater, the Keller Williams office of Clearwater. Have a team of 14 agents now, and we want to help you buying, selling, or investing. We would love to talk to you, and we're going to give you expert advice when it comes to buying, selling, or investing. I'm also a certified negotiation expert. I actually teach negotiation at the Realtor boards in both Pinellas counties and Hillsborough County, the Greater Tampa Realtor Association, as well as PRO, the Pinellas Realtor Organization. And in studio today, Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, in here. And the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show is the Lucky Dill. They've got a deli, New York City bar, Brooklyn bakery, catering and banquets, and much more. Home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn. The food is great. Great ambiance. They've got that sports theme, that New York style sports theme, and it's very friendly staff, excellent food, and I can't say enough good things about the Lucky Dill. 4606 West Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa. Also on US 19 North in Palm Harbor, just north of Tampa Road there. Online at luckydilldeli.com. And I got a hot property in Odessa. This property is on Parker's Boulevard, Parker Point Boulevard there, 1645 Parker. That is a great opportunity. We just got the professional photography updated yesterday. So this property has 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, open floor plan, laminate wood floor, ceramic tile, recessed lighting. I mean, so many upgrades throughout the inside. The master bathroom has something like 18 shower heads, and so just an awesome property here. You've got lake access in a gated community at this property at 1645 Parker Point Boulevard in Odessa, and we're going to be having an open house going on this weekend here at this beautiful property. $509 is the list price. $509 is the list price on that property here in beautiful Tampa Bay. 2703 63rd Terrace. This is an opportunity for an investor or maybe an owner-occupant who wants to live in one side and rent the other side out of this duplex. Makes a lot of sense to do that here in Tampa Bay. 2703 63rd Terrace in St. Petersburg. It's a Sawgrass subdivision in St. Pete. Great opportunity here in beautiful Tampa Bay. Check out all of our real estate properties at PlatinumMVPteam.com.
Somewhere sunny and 75.
And make sure you support the folks at caringforthebahamas.com. Our show partners are supporting that group on the Upwind Flying Club. Captain Will Smith Aviation, a longtime friend of the program, over 5 years now. I've known and worked with Captain Will Smith, but they're doing a lot of good. Caringforthebahamas.com. Also, Black Belt Jiu-Jitsu is accepting a drop-off location on Waters Avenue. All right, Doug. So we got Doug Levi in studio, Strategic Insurance. So all types of insurances. You can help a lot of our listeners. Of course, our viewers too on our TV show. We got Apple TV, Amazon, Roku, Sony TV, all searchable under the Binge networks. You can find our show worldwide now on all of those different outlets. So a lot of folks, there's a lot of misnomers when it comes to property casualty insurance, even auto insurance. What are some of the biggest misnomers?
Absolutely, yeah. And one of the advantages working with someone like myself or an independent agent is we've got access to multiple companies. So we represent over 50 companies in total.
Wow.
And we do all lines of insurance. That can be everything from, your homeowners, your auto. We help people with life insurance, disability, health insurance, business owners. We work a lot with business owners on all the things they need. So, a lot of misnomers out there. And again, kind of tying back to the hurricane, and I'll give you a great one. And I got an email this week from a longtime client. He will go nameless right now to protect the innocent, if you will.
Yeah, there you go.
So he emails me and he says, my homeowners covers my flood insurance, right? My business, and I insured both his home and his business, and my business policy insures my flood, right? And it doesn't. But
right.
And he's a sharp guy too, and I don't think he was I don't think he was joking either.
Yeah.
So, I try and teach our team all the time. People don't know what they don't know. Just like
Exactly.
you're an expert in real estate, and I may know enough to be dangerous about real estate, but same thing on insurance. So it's not uncommon where people just assume, okay, well, flooding is covered, and it's not.
Yeah.
Big takeaway on that, we have several options on flood insurance. That marketplace has changed quite a bit over the last several years. we've actually got some carriers now that will bind coverage with as little as a 3-day waiting period.
Wow.
Which is very unusual, and this actually just came up recently in one of our team meetings. Traditionally, most carriers have a 30-day waiting period for flood insurance. That's outside of a loan closing if I'm not in a flood zone.
Right.
Okay? Again, takeaway from listeners, 30% of all floods occur in non-flood zones, right? I joke with people, if your driver's license says Florida at any level, you're in a flood zone.
Yeah.
Right? We're surrounded by water on 3 sides. We're flat as a pancake. We face more hurricanes historically than any other state. So it's definitely a good idea to check that out. And especially right now, it's on people's minds. It's kind of just out there. Again, I don't know if you want to even throw the phone number up if people want a quote or want to take a look at that. We're certainly happy to help with that. And again, we've got some carriers that'll even do flood insurance with as little as a 3-day waiting period. So,
well, let's do a review. What I think we should do is a review as well, because I think that's something people overlook. They just keep signing up every year after year. Oh, here's your renewal. Sign this. So a lot of times you don't even have to sign it. It's just here's your renewal.
Absolutely.
So let's do this for the first 3 listeners who text the word review. You can text insurance review to 813-670-7372 if you want to take Doug up on that offer. Doug Levi, Strategic Insurance, and text the word review to 813-670-7372. That's our consumer advocate hotline number, and then that way you can sit down with him. You can have a consultation, do it over the phone. You can do Skype, however, whatever's convenient for you, and then walk us through that, Doug. What are you going to look at when you do that review?
Great question. So we start with all our clients. We normally start with a fact finder just to kind of get to know a little bit about what they've got, what's important to them. We'll just ask a bunch of questions about whether it's the home or the auto. And then we normally like to try and go line by line and kind of show them where they're at now. And if we see any gaps or things that don't look right, or again, people just don't know, we'll certainly point that out. And then a lot of times we're able to save people money. That's the other thing. People think, oh, well, I'm going to have to pay more. No, it's not the case. And we don't charge for the protection reviews or anything like that. We get paid by the carriers. So a lot of times we're able to shop and save people money.
Yeah.
And that's really the process for that. And the benefit our clients have, we have a system in place that we do those reviews each year with our clients. We've talked a little bit before. We call them protection reviews. We reach out to our clients each year. We've got some automated ways to do that via text, postcard, phone calls, automated phone calls that go out to try and set reviews. If they want to take us up on it, we can do it over the phone. They can come to the office. We can certainly do Skype, like you said, or Zoom meetings. So they know we're looking at it for them each year.
Yeah.
It's not just to set it and forget it. And we try to be very proactive and not reactive, keeping up with market changes, keeping up with rate changes. Because like you said, it's definitely one of those things, you could have signed up for your insurance for your home 5-6 years ago. Maybe you got referral by your realtor or by a mortgage broker and never really looked at it very closely. And each year it just keeps renewing, and you don't know what you don't have, and you may be paying more than you need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Property casualty, homeowners. And then one of the things that we talked about, too, that I'm actually looking at is like key man insurance. You've heard of that.
Yeah.
If something were to happen and you can't work, bad things happen to good people. I mean, those types of things happen. And you actually had some stories or some scenarios where it played out.
Yeah, so, you're talking really about disability income insurance, which is really important for people. I mentioned I've got a few policies. I've got a group policy through my business and an individual one. And the statistics are it's about 30 to 40% are going to experience a disability at some point in their lifetime. I've got some clients right now that one gentleman is hurt his back several years ago, just really, really bad back, disc operations, etc. He's been on claim for 5 or 6 years.
Wow.
And if we didn't have a disability, and he was self-employed, he was a consultant, if he didn't have a disability income policy, there's no way he'd be able to pay his mortgage, his bills, and who knows what would happen. So a huge takeaway would be anyone out there that's self-employed, especially, could be realtors, could be consultants, attorneys, whatever it may be, really something to take a look at and make sure, because you're not going to have a group plan, you're not going to have the government necessarily bail you out. And so really, really important.
And so, Doug, you're able to shop these programs, too. It's like you've got different carriers where you can shop a better rate, a better plan.
Yeah. So, we've got over 50 carriers we work with overall. And so in every scenario, what I try and do is and one of the reasons I became independent, I actually started my career way back at State Farm. Great company, respect the brand and all that, but all they sell is State Farm, and I wanted to be independent.
Yes.
So I can truly sit on the same side of the table as my clients. I try and spend my dollars like they're your dollars.
Right.
And so what I do is I go out to the marketplace. We try and find best carriers, best rates out there, so we can shop again, depending on the scenario, maybe 5-10 companies, so you're getting a really, really good look at what's out there, and you can feel confident that research has been done. You're going to get good coverage at a good rate.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah.
That's important. So check them out online. TampaBayInsurance.com. Great website too. Great team behind them as well. I've dealt with the staff, very friendly staff, and it's a situation where you don't know what you don't know. Get the review. Text review to 813-670-7372. Just text the word review, and we'll put you in touch with Doug and see if you can save some money. It's an opportunity to potentially save some money, and you never know where that text or call could take you. So when we come back, we got more from our expert contributors here coming up in studio, as well as our feel-good story of the day. Jonas Brothers surprise fan in hospital who missed concert for chemo treatment. Find out about that and more from our expert contributors. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter. We got the Consumer Quarterback Show pages out there on Facebook and Pinterest. And of course, follow us, our shows on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Sony TV, and about 85 other outlets. And we're making the move to AM 860 The Answer on the 26th. So make sure you remember to tune us in at 4 o'clock drive time on AM 860 The Answer coming up in just a couple of weeks. We'll see you right after this short break.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, helping you win in any marketplace here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we want to remind you about our event coming up on the 12th. We got an event serving our veterans. It's the Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit. It's going to be on Thursday, September 12th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. Catered food from Amici's Catered Cuisine. And it's going to be great lineup of speakers. Captain Matt Bruce, he's a nationally syndicated radio and TV show host here in the market. Also, Diane Vance, Fairway Independent Mortgage, William Crowley, the credit magician, Patrick Highland, and more. We're going to have a great lineup there for you, and it's going to be Veterans and Heroes Real Estate Success Summit Thursday, September 12th. Come on out and check us out. Tickets on eventbrite.com as well. Check out eventbrite.com. We got a Facebook page out there as well. And this segment is brought to you by the Lucky Dill Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Lucky Dill. They've got a deli, a restaurant, New York City bar, Brooklyn Bakery. They do catering and banquets as well. Home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn. Excellent food, very friendly staff, fun environment. And it's on Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa, US 19 North in Palm Harbor, as well as online at luckydilldeli.com. And we're back here in studio, hot listing here for this segment. I want to let you know about a property on 5980 Shore Boulevard, unit number 312. This is a gorgeous condo right on the waterway. And if you look out past the window, you see like the Don Cesar Hotel, the Zamora over there. It's just a great opportunity to own a condo in Tampa Bay. Bring your boat. There's boat slips available as well. This is a gorgeous property in Tampa Bay. And also, we've got a lot of vacant land for sale here in the area. So let's talk about this one here, 9200 Gun Highway, another Odessa property, corner lot, 2.39 acres available in Odessa, zoned RSC-2. So basically, you put some single-family homes on there and could potentially get rezoned because it's a corner lot, high opportunity for that. But Odessa is a little bit, slow, bearish on any kind of development. So you might not be able to do that. Who knows? 9200 Gun Highway. Check out PlatinumMVPTeam.com for all of our real estate properties. All right, so Jason Sallman's in studio, a longtime friend of the program, former co-host on the show back some number of years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, I think it was, Jay.
Yeah, it always makes me a little nostalgic in here. I think we always kind of have a good riff, so it's always fun to be back.
Yeah, man, always a good time. So cryptocurrency is your game, and Bitcoin is one of the main players in that. Is that still the case? Bitcoin's the leader?
Yeah, it's still major. It's actually funny. I think it's been a few months since I've been here, and that's actually changed pretty drastically. So back when I was here on the show before, I think one Bitcoin was around 5,600 or 6,000, something like that per Bitcoin, and it had about a 42% dominance over the whole market. So it was like 42% of the entire cryptocurrency market, whereas now it's more than 70% of the cryptocurrency market.
Wow.
And it's about $9,400 per coin. So it's had a pretty massive increase, not only in price, but in its actual scale of the entire market.
So it's safe to say that's the market leader.
It's the market leader. It's the very dominant. It's the Keller Williams of
okay, there you go.
of the cryptocurrency market.
Yeah, I like that. So what do people need to know? What's some of the misconceptions?
Sure. So I think the first thing, and I think you actually mentioned it before in the show, but it's so important to lead with education.
Yeah.
And so actually in the last couple of months, I actually just took on a new opportunity. I took on the marketing director position for Block Spaces.
Nice.
So Block Spaces is a blockchain innovation studio right here in Tampa Bay. It's actually located right off Kennedy.
Cool.
It's a part of the Tampa Bay Wave, which is like a co-working space that's right there on Kennedy Boulevard. And we're actually moving to Embark Collective, which is Jeff Finnick's brand new building that's actually being built in downtown.
Wow.
And we're one of the 5 flagship partners to move in there. We actually get to tour the construction site, like hard hat and all, on Tuesday. So it'll be really cool to see all that. But I think the biggest thing, kind of the biggest misconception I like to attack first is that people think that Bitcoin and blockchain are the same thing. So Bitcoin is built on blockchain. Blockchain is a technology that's existed for a little while. However, it hasn't become popularized until now. Whereas now you're seeing thousands of companies get in the game of blockchain. And so essentially, a blockchain is just a distributed ledger. It's a way of storing data that's a lot faster and a lot more secure than ways you've done it before. Now, when I say distributed, people tone out when I say that word because it doesn't necessarily mean anything to them. So I've mentioned this before, but do you remember Napster, like back in the 90s?
Yeah. The music source.
Yeah. So everyone was downloading music on Napster. So the reason that Napster failed was not because they were doing something illegal. The reason that Napster failed is because they're centralized. All of their system existed on one server. There's one point of attack.
So they got attacked.
So I mean, the government said, we don't like what you're doing, which that's fine. Maybe they were doing something wrong. Maybe they weren't. But the government said, we don't like what you're doing. We're going to shut you down. Whereas with a blockchain, it's distributed, exists on hundreds or thousands of computers, depending on whether you're talking about a private or a public blockchain. So there's no central point of attack. So think about like Equifax or Target or any of these big companies that have gone through like massive hacks recently. That's because they have very centralized data systems. All of their data exists in a couple of blocks of servers or one centralized system. And so they have one point of attack. Right. So if you could distribute that data across thousands of computers, it leaves you open to a lot less possibilities of attack.
Wow.
And so what the company actually work with, we actually build enterprise blockchains for companies. So mid to large scale companies, we actually help them store their data and move their data in much faster ways and create efficiencies within their actual companies.
Okay, so blockspaces.io, that's the website where people can check that out.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you look at that, and then you look at, kind of like, I think about a VPN also to protect your company. If everybody's jumping around on the Wi-Fi, somebody's sitting out on the roadways trying to tap into your Wi-Fi.
Yep.
So a VPN is going to protect your organization.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that's a thought process.
That's a similar thought process.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is like it is a brand new technology from the perspective of like it's only become popularized like in the last 10 years. But massive companies are getting in on this, and there's real world use cases for it. So to give you an example, Walmart. Walmart's actually using a blockchain program where they realized that they had a big problem with their data set when it came to like produce. So you remember when the big E. coli outbreaks happened with their romaine lettuce or whatever it was? Yeah. So what they actually found out when they looked at those processes is that it took them around 2 weeks just to figure out where it came from.
Wow.
So in that span of time, they had to pull all of the romaine lettuce off of all of their shelves, no matter where it came from. That's extremely inefficient. They didn't really need to do that if they'd stored the data in the correct way.
Oh, wow.
So what they actually found out is that if they used a blockchain, they'd be able to solve that problem of where it came from in seconds.
Wow.
Because you could actually see, okay, it came from this farm was organic, and moved to this distribution center, and then it moved to that Walmart. You would know exactly where it came from, where it went from, and you would know the only produce to take off.
Wow.
So that's just like a tiny use case that's being used right now, but it's being used in thousands of industries. It's being used in real estate right now.
Yeah.
There's a company out of Mexico, a very large real estate brokerage, that's actually using it to store titles.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because especially in countries that say that are not as efficient as maybe the United States or some industrialized nations. Actually, to give you another example, in Iran, it's all paper documents that store title. The issue is that if you burn down a building that's stored with paper documents, you've got nothing.
You lost it. You lost your deed.
So, and even if you think about it, even if you try digitizing titles, if you had them in centralized locations, you could, once again, if somebody hacks that server and just deletes all your information, you got nothing. So if it's distributed ledger technology, which is what blockchain is, you actually have the ability to store that data in multiple points and not and not have it.
That's super cool. Super cool, man. We're talking with Jason Sallman, cryptocurrency expert. Blockspaces.io is his web address, and essentially, when you look at it now, what's the federal government talking about? Because the federal government sees this as a threat, right? I mean, they want that Federal Reserve, that central banking system.
So when it comes to cryptocurrency, I mean, I think they see all other currencies as a threat. So, I mean, you hear Trump talk on the radio or Twitter or wherever all the time about China and how China manipulates their currency. And it's not to say they don't do that, but it's a threat. It's an existential threat. So we're talking about imports or exports. If you lower the cost of your currency, you can then mess with your import-export level, which is why we do all the tariffing and all that stuff. But what I love about Bitcoin, so to give you an example, so fiat currencies, which we have here in the United States, that's created by the Federal Reserve. That's a currency of a government.
Okay.
It's only worth what you think it's worth. It's all about the faith that you have.
And faith of the American,
it has no other value than that. So when people sometimes one of the criticisms they use of Bitcoin is that it has no intrinsic value.
Right.
Neither does the dollars in your bank account.
Because it's not backed by gold anymore.
It's backed by nothing.
As of 1971? 71,
yeah. Nixon took us off the gold standard. It was supposed to be temporary, so I'm still waiting on that to come back.
What happened? What happened to that? Yeah.
But it was the same thing. I mean, essentially, the reason that Nixon pulled the gold standard back then was because the French and German government had asked for their gold back because they thought we were printing too much money for the Vietnam War. Wow. And so they said, okay, we're going to bring our ships in and we want the gold back. And he's like, well, just kidding. We're not on the gold standard anymore.
Oh, okay. So
it
that's
literally
what led
happened.
To that?
Yeah, literally happened back to back. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
That's interesting.
So going back to kind of your question of whether they feel threatened, I think they definitely feel threatened by the possibility of what I call a people's currency. So Bitcoin is essentially, it's digital peer-to-peer cash. So I could transfer it directly to Brandon. We actually did this on air once before. That's when we were on here. It took no longer than 30 seconds for me to send him value. And I could do that same thing. I could send $100 million of value to China right now in Bitcoin. And it would take less than 20 minutes to confirm the entire transaction. And there's no middleman. There's no one taking fees out of that across the way. Whereas actually right now, it's faster to send an anvil to China than it is to send a wire. It takes somewhere between 5 and 7 business days, no matter what, just for it to clear. Wow. And that's not counting all the middlemen and all the fees that you have to pay on the way just to get there. Yeah. So it's crazy to see like how inefficient that market is, how inefficient the traditional currency market is, and how something like Bitcoin can solve that.
Yeah, for example, like Western Union back in the day, right? Western, I'm going to wire you some money. You know, that's how it goes.
And the fees, if you've ever seen the fee schedules on what like a Western Union looks like, because like a lot of migrant workers, let's say, who moved from like India to China to work on big skyscrapers and things like that, will attempt to send money home, but they'll pay fees of somewhere between 7 and 11%. So if you send them $200, can you imagine what that actually looks like to see those fees?
Well, that was my family's business. You know, one of our businesses growing up is we would rent to the migrant workers and they would go work the fields. But you'd see that all the time. You know, the Mexicans would come up, they would work the crops in the fields and then send the money back home. And sad, you know, because they're getting taken advantage of.
Sure. But the thing is, if you think about like the age of technology that we're in now, sending money online should be simple as sending an email.
Yeah.
And so that's what Bitcoin has actually done. It's made it very peer-to-peer in the same way that I send you an email, but there's no real middleman. There's not somebody who's reading my email first to make sure I can send it to you, and then they'll send it to you. Yeah. It just sends to you.
Yeah.
And so that's how Bitcoin works.
Wow. Yeah, because there's some implications I want to talk about, potential implications. Terror, you know, the war on terror, the war on, you know, drugs. Like how do drug dealers, how would that affect drug trade? How would it affect terrorism with nuclear bombs, those types of things? I want to touch on those 2 points when we come back. We're going to jump into our lightning round as well, and our feel-good story of the day. Dropkick Murphys performed special show for a 3-year-old cancer patient. Find out about that and more from our expert contributors. Rick Nickerson in the studio. We got Jason Sallman as well, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
And we're back. Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. And this segment is brought to you by Replenish IV Solutions. Replenish IV Solutions. Say hello to Steve and Lisa Gunnan. They've got an office on Del Mabry, or I'm sorry, South Tampa is on Gandy Boulevard, and also Bears up in New Tampa area. We got Replenish IV Solutions. Talk about IV therapy, wellness services, stem cell therapy as well. Replenish IV Solutions. Check them out online and let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. Take them up on special offers and incentives. You're basically getting these vitamin drips directly into your bloodstream, full with all the good stuff that's going to help you stay clean and stay, out of the hospitals, especially when the flu season comes. I definitely go, and I go before a flight too. I definitely go and get my injections and get the whole bag in there. It's like a proverbial oil change.
You've done it before, though?
Oh yeah,
I've always wanted to do that.
Multiple times.
I'll have to check that out.
I go at least once a month.
That's really cool.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our feel-good story.
Tell me something good.
All right, so we got Dropkick Murphys perform a special show for a 3-year-old cancer patient here. The Dropkick Murphys perform for Quinn, who is battling cancer and can't leave his home. Quinn was diagnosed with a brain tumor on Friday. In February, he has been stuck in his house in Massachusetts since June, forced to stay indoors after 3 rounds of chemotherapy and stem cell transplant depleted his immune system. When the Dropkick Murphys heard about Quinn's story, they made a pit stop to his home to perform a private show. Quote, a few of the guys were able to sneak over and play some songs for an awesome little fella named Quinn yesterday, the band wrote on Instagram. Quinn has a wonderful family, and they were in our thoughts and prayers during this difficult time. Quinn's family also stated in a Facebook page that it update friends and family. Started a Facebook page to update friends and family about his progress, and thanks to everyone, their support and bringing awareness about his unique situation. So feel good story right there. I like that. I love really the feel good stories.
Yeah. Actually, I read about it before the whole Dropkick Murphys part was. It was like something that was going around Facebook about a kid who couldn't come outside, and so essentially like his neighbors would like come over and like bring like kind of like toys or be like silly and puppet shows like outside. So I thought that was really cool. But I didn't know that was the same story when you first brought it up.
That is really neat.
And they did, it's not pictured for those listeners out there. You can see them. They're outside of his window with their guitars, like singing to him. He's got his window open, his little shark, and he's just got a huge smile on his face. I mean, to bring joy to a kid that's going through that, that's a great story.
Yeah, that's tough. Such a tough place to be. All right, so our feel-good story of the day, and we got Rick Nickerson in studio. Bottomzupp is his company. Jason Sallman, cryptocurrency expert, blockspaces.io, and we're going to jump into our lightning round here.
The lightning round.
I am so good at lightning rounds.
I majored in lightning rounds.
All right, here we go. Top tips, nuggets of advice, parting words of wisdom. Rick Nickerson, Bottomzupp.
Well, we're the floor removal experts in the Tampa Bay area and surrounding areas. We've got a division in the Fort Myers area, Sarasota, Bradenton as well, and we're soon to expand to the northern region. That new Tampa area is blowing up, and we want to get up in that area very soon. But, if you've got a project, if you've got a removal, glue down wood, ceramic tile, glue down carpet, VCT. If it's a tough job, we can do it. We've got the machinery, equipment, expertise. Look us up at www.bottomzupp.com. We're here for you. There's no project too big, no project too small. And we're the ones that are going to create that first impression. And we talked about it today. That first impression is huge. We want to be your guys. We want to take care of all your needs when it comes to floor removal. And our guys are going to create that first impression, which will let you know how important your project is to us and our team throughout the process.
Good stuff. I like that. Check them out online. Jason Sallman, cryptocurrency expert.
Yeah, for sure. I think, no matter what, especially with an emerging technology space like this, you need the education side of things. And so that's actually one of the things I love about Blockspaces. We actually host live events every single week that teach you about Bitcoin, about cryptocurrency, about blockchain, and how it could impact your life or your business. So I'd say just come in, walk into Blockspaces and come to one of our events. You can go to blockspaces.io/events or just search Blockspaces on Eventbrite. All of our stuff's up there.
Awesome. All right. So as you know, I teach branding and negotiation now at the Realtor boards to the Pinellas Realtor Organization, the GTAR Realtor Association, Greater Tampa Realtor Association. So one of the top things that you use in negotiations is labels. Okay. So a label serves to validate your counterpart's emotion by verbally acknowledging it. So a lot of times they start with it seems like, it sounds like, it looks like. You can even use it feels like. And for an example, it sounds like trust is something that's important to you, and you want to use these every fourth verbalization or so. You're going to use open-ended questions. You're going to use mirrors, where you're simply repeating back the most important 1 to 3 words that person said. And what you're displaying through these utilization of labels and mirrors and open-ended questions is tactical empathy. The more empathetic you can be in a negotiation, the better you're going to be able to move that counterpart to where you want the conversation to go and get the deal done. So labels serve as to validate your counterpart's emotions by verbally acknowledging it. That's what a label is. That's what a label will do for you. All right, so great lightning round there. I wanted to ask Jason Sallman, we were talking about the cryptocurrency stuff. I think sometimes you hear about all of the money. I saw one of these documentaries called Drugs, Inc. Have you ever seen that one?
I think so.
It said, the GDP of all of the world economies compared to the GDP, or maybe it was the United States economy. I can't remember for sure. But Drugs, Inc., all the different types of illegal drugs are more money than it may have been the United States GDP. So there's a lot of illegal trade out there, a lot of things happening. How does block space, or how does blockchain affect that, or how can people pay through that? Would that be a challenge to the government? Is that something that people need to consider?
So this is obviously talking specifically about cryptocurrency, not blockchain. Blockchain being just the technology that's underlying of that.
Yeah.
So when you talk about cryptocurrency, I mean, sure, can you use? Could you possibly use cryptocurrency for a nefarious act? Sure, 100% you can.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is I actually saw the comparison between this and just cash alone the other day, and so we don't even make up 2% of cash transactions, period. The entire cryptocurrency market in general.
The current market.
Yeah. So from a scalability standpoint, like it's not being used for that.
Right.
Now, and it's what I was thinking is interesting about any emerging technology. So when the internet first came out, it was pretty interesting. You would see like news pundits or experts in quotation marks or whatever you want to say, who originally when the internet came out, and so the first things they would say is, "Oh, this is for scammers. This is for pornographers. This could be for terrorists."
Right.
That's the original labels that they put on the internet.
Right.
Because whenever something is kind of has that breakthrough technology aspect of it, people are scared. People don't like to change. They don't want it, they don't want things to be different. They don't want this fad to catch on or whatever it is. And so that's kind of what you see. So this is the same thing actually, I would say 5 years ago, that was a stigma, more of a stigma that crypto had on it, was that, oh, well, it's for pornographers or for scammers or for, whatever. It could be for terrorists or drugs or whatever, because it was occasionally used in the case of the Silk Road, which was a very large dark web network that was using Bitcoin at the time as a way of transacting. That no longer exists anymore. But so that was a stigma that it had. But that's because all emerging technologies originally pick up those stigmas.
Yeah.
And there's a reason behind that. So if you think of yourself, if you're a scammer or a drug dealer or something like that, you're always on the absolute cutting edge of tech,
right?
Because you're trying to beat the man. You know what I mean? You're trying to stay in front of the law. You're trying to stay out of jail, and so you're trying to do the trickiest things you possibly can to beat it. And so that's what emerging tech is always used for.
Yeah.
Like when cell phones first came out, like that was immediately all the guys who had cell phones, you were either on Wall Street or you were a drug dealer.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. So those are some of the misconceptions that people are going to think about. Those are the areas that are going to have concerns, and it's not hackable. You're saying the blockchain technology is not hackable.
So no, that's not to say blockchain is not technically hackable. What I said is that, and it's funny, we had this conversation before. Yeah. So Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency that's built on the blockchain has never been hacked in its entire history. So there are other cryptocurrencies that have been hacked because they do not have the network security that Bitcoin does.
Okay.
So to give you an example, like the amount of, I'll simplify this, the amount of computing power that's on the Bitcoin network surpasses all other computing power of any quantum computer you can think of in the world put together.
Interesting.
So there's more security on that network than any other network in the world.
Wow.
So that's why it's never been hacked, is because I had mentioned this, I think, to one of your friends before. I said, well, it's impossible to hack. He said, well, nothing's impossible. And I said, well, you'd have to invent more computing power that exists in the world currently now, to get it online and have it all attack at the exact same time to have the possibility of hacking Bitcoin, which it doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. So that's why I said that. So it's interesting, and that's why if you think about what Bitcoin is in the sense of it's peer-to-peer digital cash,
Yep.
no one has the ability to confiscate that from you. It's unconfiscatable.
Very cool.
So you can't be hacked. You can't, someone stole your credit card information. That's not the ability. As long as you hold your private keys, which is essentially your secret password to your Bitcoin, no one else has access to it.
Love it. That's good stuff, man.
That's awesome.
See where it goes. That's
it's
already
going.
taken off, man.
It's
It's
going.
going.
Crazy.
A lot more and more companies are picking it up too.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
It's
Big
definitely
time.
the future.
I want to thank Rick Nickerson for coming in. Bottomzupp, always a pleasure. Jason Sallman as well, cryptocurrency expert, blockspaces.io, bottomzupp.com. And all of our listeners, our viewers on our TV show now on Apple TV, Amazon, and Roku, thank you so much for tuning in and checking us out. And please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. Real easy to pack up some food, hand it to that person that you see in need, donate some blood. Lots of ways that you can get involved. Do something kind for one another. And we'll see you right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.